What's up, everyone? Welcome back to King Anime Review, and for this video, I'll be reviewing Boruto Naruto Next Generations episode 237, The Mobile Fortress. Now, this episode started off with Kagura and started communicating over like a walkie-talkie, and Sarda was basically informing Kagura that she's going to be returning to the rendezvous point with the people that she saved from the island. And yeah, and then Kagura, he got a message from Boruto over the walkie-talkie. And, you know, Boruto, Buntan, and Kawaki were inside the mobile fortress that the Funita clan has. And, yeah, Boruto gave Kagura a message. They told Kagura that, you know, they found the scientific ninja tool or something on the boat, on the mobile fortress. And then Kagura basically got attacked by that ship, that Funita clan ship that they encounter on their way to Dosu Island. And yeah, so that's what happened with that. But then, so basically, then Boruto and Buntan and Kawaki were trying to figure out how to destroy the scientific ninja tool. Now, when they were doing this, they were like basically sneaking around on the ship and trying not to get caught because they were basically saying it was too many enemies around. Now, that's one. This episode has some pretty big problems, and that's one of the biggest problems that I have. And basically, this entire arc has been good in terms of the way the story, like the overall story, in terms of like, you know, what's going on, you know, how the story is written, you know, the plot of the story for this arc has been very good. The only downside to this arc so far has been the inconsistent power scaling, or should I say the inconsistencies with the power scaling. And now that problem, it wasn't that big of a problem, you know, in the previous episodes, but in this episode, you know, it's extremely noticeable and it's very problematic. And overall, yeah, that's been the biggest problem of this arc. But in this episode, it's like extremely obvious that the power scaling is extremely off. Now, for starters, Boruto and Kawaki should be easily Al-Sasuke level, even in their base form. I mean, Kawaki was capable of defeating Ishiki. Now, granted, he did trick him, but he was capable of defeating Ishiki when he just had one arm and he didn't have the Karma Seal. This was after Ishiki took the Karma Seal from him. I mean, after, not Ishiki, but after, you know, basically when Jigen was revived, the Karma Seal disappeared from Kawaki. So, basically, after Kawaki lost the Karma Seal, he was capable of still like basically reacting to Ishiki and tricking Ishiki. And then he was also capable of having a brief little fight with Borushiki, and he ended up outsmarting Borushiki as well. He outsmarted two Al-Sasuke in the same day, like one right after another. He outsmarted two Al-Sasuke, and he was capable of reacting to him. So, with that being said, like none of these characters should be. First of all, Boruto and Kawaki talking about, oh, there's too many enemies. They were talking about these, you know, these weak little soldiers, these Funita clan soldiers, who in terms of power scaling, basically in the power scaling, you know, when people talk about power scaling, when they talk about the weakest characters, they call them fodder. And these you know, random Funita clan soldiers are obviously fodder. Yet Boruto and Kawaki and Buntan are like, oh, there are too many enemies. There's too many enemies. It's gonna be hard for us to get to the scientific ninja tool. That whole thing was dumb. That was just extremely dumb. If you have 1,000 fodder, that shouldn't matter. Like, look at what Madara did to the Allied Shinobi forces when he first showed up. All of those fodder did nothing to him, pretty much. Because why? Because they're nowhere near Madara's level. Madara he was top tier when he was first reanimated. Even the 5 Kage couldn't really do anything to him. So obviously fodder are nothing to him. So just because it's a lot of fodder doesn't mean it doesn't mean anything. Point being, that whole line, I forgot, I think it was Boruto who said that there's too many enemies or something like that. That was dumb. Because they should have been able to easily one-shot these guys with no problem at all and make it to the scientific ninja tool. So the fact that they were sneaking around was a huge problem in the episode for me. That was a huge problem. Now then, they finally got to where the scientific ninja tool was. They were chasing one guy who ended up escaping. That was another weird thing, that one guy, he went through some doors or whatever, and then they just randomly stopped. I mean, they just stopped chasing him. And they was like, oh, we got to destroy the scientific ninja tool fast now because he's probably going to go get help. When, bro, first of all, they were chasing this guy. That was very weird because there's no way that this guy should be outrunning them. Like, seriously, he's basically fodder, and he's outrunning characters. First of all, and I said earlier on, Boruto and Kawaki they should be around Otsutsuki level. I already explained why Kawaki should be around Otsutsuki level, even without the Karma Seal. Even without the Karma Seal. And back then, he only had one arm. Now he got his new arm back, and he doesn't have the Karma Seal still. But, yeah, he should be at least a little bit more powerful than he was when he fought Borushiki and Ishiki, right? And then Boruto, on the other hand, he still has the Karma Seal, which I still don't get why he's not using the Karma Seal. Like, I did give a couple of possible explanations in like my previous reviews. Like, maybe it's because he doesn't want, maybe it has something to do with him not wanting, you know, Momoshiki to take over, or maybe it's because he thinks he shouldn't use it because of the pills or something, or I don't know. Either way, it should have been explained. If it was explained, drop a comment in the comment section below and let me know where it was explained that Boruto, why Boruto isn't using the Karma Seal after the Kawaki arc. I haven't seen. I can't remember Boruto explaining or anybody else explaining why Boruto isn't using the Karma Seal. So if somebody can find some information about that, let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I'm probably just gonna have to go rewatch everything that happened after the Kawaki arc, which I'm probably gonna do that anyways, especially when the English dub get caught up to it. But yeah, so that's the case with that. It's just weird that Boruto's not using the Karma Seal. Now, anyways, yeah, Boruto should be Otsutsuki level as well. Obviously, he should be at least around the same level as Kawaki without the Karma Seal. So, yeah, and then you have fodder all running them. Very, very bad. This is actually bad writing, to be honest with you. Now, the whole thing with power scaling in fiction is a lot of people don't really understand the whole concept of plot nerf. A lot of people don't understand that concept, which is why a lot of the people who use standard battle assumptions are bad debaters, because they don't understand it. That's one of the reasons why they're bad debaters, is because they don't understand the concept of plot nerf. Because characters can and usually are restricted by the plot. If you have a character who was previously shown to have extremely powerful feats that put them at top tier in their verse, and you show them fighting characters who should be nowhere near top tier at all, just simply based off the fact that they don't meet the criteria of even being top tier. Like in a Naruto verse, in order to be top tier, you most likely you need either Otsutsuki chakra or Six Paths chakra or something like that, or it's just something around that level, right? I mean, character. There are exceptions like Sakura. She's extremely strong. She's arguably top tier. The 5 Kage, they're arguably top tier, even though they don't have Otsutsuki chakra and stuff. But for the most part, Otsutsuki chakra should make you instantly top tier. And these Funita clan guys, I mean, granted, we haven't seen them fight prior to this, so it's just extremely weird to me. It's extremely weird. But yeah, getting back to what I was saying, yeah, Boruto and Kawaki, they should be, definitely these fodder should be shouldn't be scared of fodder, or they shouldn't be sneaking around and stuff like that. But anyways, so then what happened was Kagura, he ended up coming up with a plan. He used that one guy, I forgot his name. I think it's Taki or Captain Taki or something like that. The guy who was taking them to the island. He used his ship as a distraction, and he used it to distract the soldiers or whatever, and then he ended up sneaking onto the mobile fortress. Now, then what ended up happening was they met up with Boruto, and Kawaki and them, and then they were planning on destroying the scientific ninja tool. But then that's when Tenma Funita, the younger son of the Funita clan leader, he came, and then he was like, yeah, he was basically like, yeah, I'm not gonna let you guys destroy this scientific ninja tool. And yeah, he seemed disappointed because he thought that he said that they were all kids, so he basically underestimated them. And then Hebi Ichigo, she ran at him, and she tried to attack him, and she got one-shotted, and she started bleeding as well. This is a minor nitpick, but I didn't see her clothes ripped or anything. Like, they should have been ripped because she was bleeding and stuff. So it was kind of weird that they didn't show like her clothes ripped or whatever. But anyways, after Kyoto, what's his name, Koto or something like that. After that one guy with the hammer, sword, scientific ninja tool, he basically seen Hebi Ichigo bleeding, and he lost control because it was stated by Buntan that once he sees blood, he loses control. So he went after this. He went after the guy. He went after Tenma, and he actually was doing a lot better against Tenma than Hebi Ichigo did. He was actually pushing Tenma back and forcing him to run and stuff. And so yeah, he had a brief little fight with Tenma, and then Boruto and Kawaki were heading to destroy the scientific ninja tool. But then when they ran past Koto, he started to attack them, and then that's when Buntan said, yeah, when he sees blood, he loses control. So apparently he loses control so much that he just started attacking anybody that's around him. So Kagura had to come and basically, knock him out with his sword. With his he had to come and knock him out with his sword that the Mizukage gave him, and then Kagura started fighting. Kagura and Buntan started fighting Tenma. Tenma almost killed Buntan, but Kagura saved her. And then Buntan asked, "Hey, why would you save me, Kagura?" And Kagura said, basically, I'm not gonna let my precious friends die or something like that, or I'm not gonna let them get hurt or something like that. And yeah, so Kagura is actually viewing Buntan and these other three former new Seven Ninja Swordsmen of the Mist. He's viewing them as his friends. Now this kind of makes sense based on the fact that they've been in prison with him. He's been the warden of their prison. And he's been trying to, like, even at the start of this arc, he was trying to get their sentences reduced because he thought that they actually did have potential to be good allies to the Hidden Mist Village. But yeah, maybe he was bonding with them while they were in prison as well because, he had plenty of time to talk to him and stuff. And obviously, they didn't escape. So that's one of the reasons why he told Boruto, I believe in an episode before this, he said, one of the reasons why he trusts them and why he, allowed them to come on a mission is because they didn't escape when they had the opportunity to escape with Shizumi, and that leads him to believe that they still didn't tell him why they didn't escape, but that leads him to believe that they can be, allies and that they can be saved from going down that evil path that they started going down. Now, and then what ended up happening was, then we had Kagura, who was getting beat up by Tenma, and then Kawaki joined them in the fight, and it was Kagura and Kawaki teaming up to fight Tenma. Kagura told Kawaki to go ahead and go with Boruto, but Kawaki said, "Don't order me around," and he said, "This guy's too tough for you, so I'm gonna help out." And then both Kagura and Kawaki started fighting Tenma, and they were doing decently against him. Tenma was winning. He was beating him up a little bit at first, but then they were doing decently with him. Kawaki used his scientific ninja tools he held on to Tenma's weapon, and Tenma, he had this weapon, like he had a crab like claw on his arm, and yeah, it's kind of, I think it's kind of similar to his brother's weapon, where it's not like it's kind of, these weapons, both of them seem kind of like how Samihada was, where it's not just like a regular weapon. It actually seems to have some type of, it seems to have like some type of, like how Samihada was kind of like a shark, like where it kind of had his, it had like, it kind of seemed like a real shark that actually was, attached to chakra and stuff like that. And the same was the case with the other, Funato clan brothers' weapon. Now, this crab weapon, this crab claw weapon, it hasn't displayed anything like that so far, but I think it will be similar to that. But yeah, it was a pretty strong weapon. And eventually, Kawaki and Kagura were able to... Oh yeah, another problem with this episode was basically the Funita clan, they seen that it was a ship heading towards their direction while all of this fighting was going on. And then Boruto said, could that be Sarda and the others? Now, this was extremely dumb, because Boruto was standing like he wasn't that far away from Tenma when he said that. Now, Tenma and the Funita clan guys, they could have just thought, oh, this is the ship this is one of our ships, one of our ally ships. In fact, it seemed like they actually were thinking that because they said it's the same ship. It seemed like they recognized the ship as one of their allied ships. And then Boruto foolishly said, oh, could this be Sarda and the others? That was extremely stupid. Extremely stupid. Considering he wasn't that far away from Tenma. And Tenma obviously heard that. And he said, oh, Tenma was like, oh, so that's your friends, huh? And then he ordered his soldiers to aim the scientific ninja tool at the ship, which was, once again, that was extremely stupid for Boruto to say that. He could have just thought that in his head. He didn't have to say that out loud. It was extremely dumb. He put his friends in danger by doing that. And they could have died because of Boruto's foolishness. So bad writing, once again, that's another case of bad writing. Now, and because obviously Boruto shouldn't be that stupid. He's been portrayed as a prodigy, as a very smart character throughout the series. So the fact that he would say something like that is extremely dumb. Like I said, bad writing. Now, then what ended up happening was Boruto and Buntan, they went to try to destroy the scientific ninja tool, while Kawaki and Kagura were fighting this Tenma god. And they eventually ended up restraining him to stop him from ordering his soldiers around. They briefly ended up restraining him at one point. Boruto, on the other hand, he, like, the scientific ninja tool actually did fire. It was like a chakra cannon, similar to something that we seen in the last Naruto the movie, where the Atlantic Cloud was firing a chakra cannon at the moon and stuff. So once again, we see a chakra cannon being utilized. Now, the thing with this is, Boruto, the first time the chakra cannon fired, he couldn't actually stop them. Dinky and basically everybody on the ship managed to avoid the first hit. They turned around before the first hit could be fired. But the second hit, the scientific ninja tool was getting powered up for a second time. And once again, Boruto couldn't... Well, the second time, Boruto and Buntan, they went to where the people who was controlling the scientific ninja tool were, and they managed to change the direction of it. And then they basically changed it to... They turned it around to basically blow up part of the ship that they were on, part of the mobile fortress. So they ended up doing that. Now, my problem with this whole scientific ninja tool thing is, why wasn't Boruto just able to absorb the chakra with this karma seal? Boruto should have been able to easily just go to... He should have been able to easily go to where this scientific... Like, first of all, some people might not believe me when I say this, but I encourage you guys to go back to where Kawaki was first reintroduced. Basically, at the end of the Vessel arc, when Team 7 first met Kawaki. Go back to that scene, and you'll be able to see that Kawaki was actually hovering. And that's because he has Aotsutsuki chakra. You can actually see in the anime, his chakra look extremely different from how chakra usually looks. Chakra is usually blue. Kawaki had a purple-looking Aotsutsuki type of looking chakra, pretty much. And then he was hovering when he first met Team 7. So, obviously, Kawaki should be able to fly. And it's not because of the karma seal. It's because his karma seal wasn't even activated at that point. But it's because of the fact that he's basically 80% Aotsutsuki. Therefore, he has Aotsutsuki chakra. And because he has that, he should be able to fly, right? And he actually did fly at that point in the series. And then when he fought Garo, he actually flew as well. He flew to Garo. I believe it was in that same episode or the episode right after that, right? So, with that being said, Boruto and Kawaki, they're over 80% Aotsutsuki at this point. And they should be able to fly. So, Boruto should be able to fly in front of the scientific ninja tool and absorb that chakra blast with his karma seal. He should have been able to easily do that. And the fact that he didn't is blatant plot nerf. Either it's blatant plot nerf or the writers actually forgot the fact that Boruto and Kawaki should be able to fly because they're 80% Aotsutsuki. Either way, it's still bad writing because it's basically inconsistent with what we know Boruto and Kawaki should be capable of doing. So yeah, plot nerf once again. And yeah, then basically what ended up happening was that's basically where the episode ended. The mobile fortress part of it was destroyed. Tenma was really mad, and then everybody who, Kawaki, Kagura, Boruto, and those former Seven Ninja Swordsmen, they ended up escaping the mobile fortress, and they ended up meeting up with Sarda and the others. And that's where the episode ended off. Team 5 were surprised to see that the former Seven Ninja Swordsmen were actually working together with Team 7 and Team Kagura. They're a part of Team Kagura and they were helping out Team 7 on the mission. Team 5 was surprised about that. Buntan and the others were talking about Buntan and Hebi Ichigo and Koho. They were talking about how their sentences should be reduced because the mission was a success. And yeah, their whole mission seemed to be a success. And then Kagura decided that they should go back to the Hidden Mist Village. And yeah, the mission he basically said we should go back to the Hidden Mist Village in order to get everybody back home safely. And the mission seemed to have been a success. However, this arc is definitely not over. I'm pretty sure it's definitely not over at this point. Now, with all of that being said, yeah, that's what I thought. I told you everything. I told you what I thought about everything that happened in the episode. Now, let's get into the ratings for this episode. So, overall, so I already talked about my problems with the plot and nerf and the dumb statements from Boruto and the fact that they were, sneaking around and they were talking about how, it's too many enemies and stuff like that. Even though that they were talking about fodder. All of those things were pretty big problems with the episode. However, everything else about the episode was pretty decent. I did like seeing the fighting. Even though Kawaki was blatantly plot nerfed, I like seeing him team up with Kagura. That was a pretty cool, team up. And they had a brief little fight against Tenma. The fighting in the episode was pretty well animated, and I like seeing the fights. I like seeing the fighting in the episode. Other than that, the story of the episode, yeah, in terms of the way things were executed, I'm gonna have to say, it was too many. It was too much stuff that wasn't really that consistent. Most of it stemmed from power scaling stuff, but also even if you take out power scaling, because in terms of plot nerf, sometimes I can't excuse it because I understand that if you make characters too powerful, like in this case, Boruto and Kawaki are kind of too powerful for the plot. They're 80% Aotsutsuki, and obviously the Boruto anime has to make the villains of the story seem at least somewhat threatening, or else it's not going to be interesting. And unfortunately, they can't just do anything too crazy, like have a new Aotsutsuki appear or something like that, because obviously that would be something that will happen if something that significant happened. It would be, shown in the manga, right? So the point is, they have to resort to using these villains who shouldn't be that strong. They have to resort to making these villains seem actually stronger than the protagonist. And that's plot nerf. It's obvious plot nerf, but they kind of have to do it. They kind of have to do it really, because, and that's one of the downsides with this anime only stuff. That's one of the downsides with it. They can't really you just randomly introduce a new Aotsutsuki or something like that. So they have to resort to using these random shinobi and trying to make them stronger than characters like Boruto and Kawaki, who should be obviously stronger than them. So yeah, but even if I excuse the power scaling problems, there were still other problems like Team 7 not being Kawaki and Boruto having to chase down a fodder who they shouldn't be, a fodder should not be outrunning them. They should have been able to easily catch up to that guy for one. Them making comments saying, it's too many enemies around. Another dumb comment. Also, Boruto making that dumb comment about, it might be Sarda and others, which actually put his friends in danger. So, overall, I have to be honest. I have to be brutally honest and say that this was one of the worst episodes of this arc so far, simply due to the bad writing and the dumb comments in the plot nerf that was happening in this arc. This was definitely one of the this was the worst episode of the arc. It was some cool fighting here and there, and basically outside of the power scaling and dumb comments, everything was cool. But yeah, the power scaling in the dumb comments are gonna drag down this rating for the episode. So overall, I'm gonna give it a in terms of story, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. I almost gave it a 6.5, but I'll give it a 7 because outside of the bad things I talked about, everything else was pretty well written. Boruto figuring out, how to, destroy the mobile or destroy part of the mobile fortress. He did display some, because he's seen like a rope or something like that. That a hook that he used to move this move the scientific ninja tool. So there was some decent amount of strategy in this episode. So you got to give it a little bit of credit for that. And at the end of the day, they end up managing to save their friends and stuff like that. So that was cool. There was some strategy going on with Kagura as well. Like he managed to distract some of the soldiers and stuff with that ship that he sent crashing into the mobile fortress. So I'm not gonna just highlight the bad stuff. Obviously, I'm gonna be fair and say, yeah, there was some good strategy, and stuff like that going on in the episode. There was some good writing in this episode. A couple of the other good things I would like to mention about this episode is Tenma is a pretty cool and entertaining villain so far, and the plot progression in this episode was great. It was great actually because it wrapped up, this portion of the arc, the Doto Island stuff. Wrap that stuff up nice with the fight with Tenma and stuff. So, those are some other good things, or shall I say great things about the episode. Or, yeah, the villain was good. I'll say he's good so far. Tenma, I'll say he's decent so far and pretty entertaining. Yeah, overall, but the episode was pretty entertaining despite the problems that I had with it. So, overall, I think the good outweighed the bad because we did have some good writing and we did have some cool fights as well. So, like I said, 7 out of 10 for the story. In terms of art, I'm going to give a 10 out of 10. I didn't notice any problems with the art. And in terms of animation, I'm going to give a 10 out of 10. I didn't notice any problems with the animation. So overall, I'll give this episode a 8.5 out of 10. It was a pretty, it was good. It was I'll say, I don't know. I'll say it was a okay to good episode. It was a passable episode. However, this definitely was the worst episode of the arc so far. And hopefully the next episode is better. And yeah, also there was some comedy scenes, and the artwork did slightly change during some comedy scenes, like when Sarada was yelling at Team 5 and stuff like that, and when Boontown was talking about how their sentences should be reduced. So yeah, that was some cool stuff as well. Now, anyways, with all of that being said, yeah, that's what I thought about this episode. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode in the comment section below. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching the video. If you liked the video, please drop a like. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and clicking that channel notification bell to be notified on all of my future videos. And yeah, share the video all over the internet as well. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.